We go to the next subtopic, that is phases in the life cycle. We go to the next topic, that is phases in the life cycle of an organism. There are basically three phases in any life cycle. The first being juvenile or juvenility. This phase is also called as vegetative phase in plants. The juvenile phase is the phase of growth. And this extends from birth till the time the organism attains reproductive maturity. So it begins from birth and ends at reproductive maturity. During this phase, the organism will exhibit different structures. For example, the plants will exhibit different types of leaves, the birds will exhibit different types of feathers or different colors of feathers. So different structures will be seen. The second phase is the phase of reproductive maturity. So that is reproductive phase or the maturity phase. Here, the organism attains the ability to produce offsprings or the progeny or the next generation. The reproductive organs develop and they attain maturity during the period which is called as puberty. This is an important terminology. So here the reproductive organs are developing. And attaining maturity. In plants, the sexual maturity or reproductive maturity is seen by appearance of flowers. Now, based on the appearance of flowers, the plants can be classified into two types, monocarpic or polycarpic. Monocarpic plants are those which produce flowers only once in the life cycle. For example, wheat, rice, maize. These plants produce flowers once in the lifetime or once in their life cycle, and they produce further fruit and then the plant dies. Whereas in polycarpic plants, the flowers are produced at intervals every year. So here the flowers are present at intervals every year. For example, mango, apple, oranges. So this was about the plants. Now coming to animals. Based on the time of breeding, the animals can be classified into two types. Seasonal breeding or continuous breeding. The seasonal breeding animals undergo breeding only at a particular time of the year. For example, frogs. Continuous breeding animals are those wherein they repeatedly breed throughout their life cycle at intervals. For example, cows, dogs. So this was the type of animals based on breeding. Coming to the next phase of life cycle or the last phase, that is the senescent phase. The senescent phase begins at the end of reproductive maturity and it extends to death. So this is the last phase of the life cycle from end of reproductive maturity till death. Basically, during the senescent phase, the body is undergoing degeneration. All the organs are deteriorating progressively. And this senescent phase ends in death. or extends till death. So these were the phases in life cycle. The first was juvenile phase, the second being reproductive or maturity phase, and the third being senescent phase. Next, let us see what are the special modes of reproduction. One of the special mode of reproduction is parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis is also called as virgin birth. In parthenogenesis, the egg directly develops into a new individual. The egg is unfertilized. There is no fertilization that has taken place, but it will develop into a new individual. For example, this is seen in insects, in arthropods. Now, parthenogenesis is again of two types: natural and artificial. Natural parthenogenesis means it is occurring naturally in the organism throughout the life cycle. Now, natural parthenogenesis is again of three types: complete. In complete natural parthenogenesis, parthenogenesis is the exclusive mode of reproduction for that particular organism. There is no other mode which is being followed. So there are no males in these organisms which follow complete parthenogenesis. There are only females. For example, this is seen in Caucasian rock lizard. So that was about complete parthenogenesis. Second type of natural is incomplete. In incomplete natural parthenogenesis, two modes of reproduction will be seen, that is parthenogenesis as well as the sexual mode of reproduction. For example, this is seen in honeybees. In honeybees, the zygote which is formed as a result of sexual reproduction will develop into the queen honeybee and the workers. Now, the queen and the workers both are female bees, and the egg which without fertilization, that is the egg which by parthenogenesis develops into drones, and these drones are males. So here we see both the modes of reproduction are seen: the zygote which develops into the queen and the worker bees, and the unfertilized egg develops into the drone bees, the male bees. So that was incomplete natural parthenogenesis. Third type is called as pedogenetic. In pedogenetic natural parthenogenesis, the parthenogenesis is occurring at the level of the larval stage, at the level of the larva. This is seen in the liver fluke. So this was all about natural parthenogenesis. Now coming on to artificial parthenogenesis. Artificial parthenogenesis is one wherein the egg will be induced to develop into a new individual by artificial means. The egg is not developing into the new individual naturally. It is being stimulated. Now these stimuli may be of two kinds: the physical stimuli. The physical stimuli would include something like change in the temperature of the surrounding of the organism, or change in the pH, or by giving electric shocks. Second are the chemical stimuli. Chemical stimuli used to induce parthenogenesis could be something like change in concentration of the salts or the electrolytes around. So the salt concentration changes, or by introducing chemicals like ether or alcohol or fatty acids. So that includes artificial parthenogenesis. So in this topic we saw parthenogenesis is development of a new individual from an unfertilized ovum. The egg directly develops into a new individual. It is of two types, natural and artificial. The natural can further be divided into 3 types: complete, incomplete, and pedogenetic. Artificial would include the physical stimuli and the chemical stimuli. So that was all about parthenogenesis. Thank you.